Hey, good evening. Welcome to Mommy Talk, the show of the champion parents. Woohoo.
Woo woo.
Woohoo.
Hey, listeners.
Hey. We provide information and resources to inspire positive parental engagement. What does that mean, positive parental engagement?
Well, we want to put out information to share with parents to help them improve and build their parenting skills.
Amen.
Yeah, that was well said, Miss April.
Okay.
Yeah, any relationship, positivity where there's good communication,
Yeah. And I'm learning communication is the foundation for a good relationship. You have to be able to communicate what you're feeling and just be honest and transparent and vulnerable as well. But communication is definitely a great skill and a great basis for building a positive relationship.
It is. I certainly agree because I feel like I always need some encouragement with that positive parental engagement because sometimes I really want to take it to the street. I'm sorry, with my
What
children.
street? Where? You want to go to 7 Mile? What you want to do? Be on Jefferson with it?
Sometimes kids will take you to that
I can
little
understand.
point where you just have to.
See, I can't relate, but I'm just so happy my sons are over that hump. I still have to get with them every so often, not as much.
But not as
But I
much.
can remember them teenage years or preteen years, that you just want to grab them up. Well, I think I probably did grab my kids up. And my sons are boys, I had to grab them up and
Rough
just
them
let
up
them
a
know.
little bit.
Yeah, so I can understand. But I definitely still, use communication as a tool to let them know, why things are going on.
For sure. So, hey, champion parents out there, today's show is to share Champion Parents Guide to a Successful School Year. So I just want to break away for a minute. We are champion parents in here, and we are speaking to the champion parents. So one of our champion parents is babysitting today. So you may hear little Carson's voice, but that's okay, because we do it in the studio and outside of the studio. Amen.
That's
Carson
right.
is my great nephew. His birthday was yesterday. He turned 2. We visited the zoo. So I'm still on auntie duty for the week. For the day.
Universal Circus.
And it really was nice. It really was good. We really had a good time. I thought he would be afraid, but he wasn't necessarily afraid. The clowns, they added a lot of, had camels and zebras.
Oh, nice.
They had the motorcycles. So, I haven't been since, my sons were 10 or something. So I haven't been in about 10 years. But it was really, really nice.
I love the zoo. I even love the Toledo
Okay,
zoo.
are y'all saying the zoo or the Universal Circus?
The Universal Circus.
Oh,
Miss Dr. Perk was saying the zoo.
No, actually, here you go. Actually, when you rewind the tape, Miss April, you'll hear yourself saying the zoo. But
I did say the zoo.
You did say the zoo.
Oh, I thought I said the animals that were at the circus. I'm sorry. I was just saying the animals that were at the circus.
That's why I was like Universal Circus.
Oh, okay.
yeah, but that's nice.
But I do like both. I like the zoo and the circus.
Yeah, I do too. I took my children to the Universal Soul Circus last year. I'm thinking about taking them to it this year again.
Because it'll be here for a while. I think it's here until the 29th for a very long time.
But nobody seems to remember, way back in the day when, we were children.
Yeah.
And the Universal Soul Circus, you don't remember that lady who put something in her mouth and spin around on her neck?
Oh, no.
Nobody seems to remember that. I'm going to have
You
to try
probably
to
can
Google that.
it. Yeah. I was going to say you can probably
But
Google it.
you guys were probably a little bit older than me.
Yeah, so exactly. Thank you. Okay, so again, champion parents, today we're talking about a successful school year. Do you all remember getting ready for the first day of school?
Yes, I do. I really do.
What was more important to you, thinking about the first days of school?
Just making sure that my children have what they need.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about your first days of school.
Oh, my first days of school? Oh, you know what? As a child, it was scary.
Yeah.
I remember middle school. I remember high school. I think for me, middle school was more scary. I had
Really?
they had to actually help me out of the car. But high school, it was just a little intimidating, but once you got into the groove, it was like, oh, okay, I can do this. But
Yeah.
What about you?
I think the middle school and the elementary school seem to have been a little more fun or exciting to anticipate going to the first day. What was scary for me was going to high school because I wasn't going to my neighborhood high school because we had moved. And so just going to a different high school, ninth grade, way across town from where my middle school was, that was scary. And then I heard rumors about my high school, but they were talking about Cooley, but they kept saying Cody. But now that I think about it, I'm like, if you go to one high school, it's not much difference between, the neighborhood schools. It's just about getting to know people. I think it's just the fear of just being new in the situation. Whatever. Miss Cass Tech over here.
What she was saying? She just
No.
it's a neighborhood school.
No, it's not that. It's not that. I do agree with you. I just believe there is no difference. I just believe that the leadership drives the school.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But you're speaking from a grown-up point.
I don't think the leadership. I think the parental participation guides the school. I think that's why Cass, Renaissance, the higher schools, I think that's why they are thriving because of the parental participation.
I kind of agree with both of you. It's a partnership, though. If you think about it, it's a partnership. It's the leadership, it's the parents, and it's the community. It's like, when you look at certain schools and you see, like, a community has a big involvement. So, okay, speaking about Cass Tech, they have a big community involvement.
That's because the parents are involved.
And the parent, but, it's a whole, I think it's just on a whole. I don't know.
I think, from my point of view, I think it's more so parental participation that makes the school thrive. Because the more the parents participate and push to hold the leadership accountable and bring in and suggest different programs to help their child academically, it just helps the school overall. I do agree, too, that, the leadership does drive the school, and you do have to have good leadership and honest and caring
And set the expectations.
Yeah,
and hold
in place.
people accountable. That's
Yes.
what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So, I just really feel like it starts with the leadership of the school and just doing those checks and balances.
Yeah.
And then from there, everybody has a part to play.
All right, so callers, there you have it. Give us a call, 313-837-1340. Tell us what you think. So I can think of, like, the first days of getting ready to go to schools. School, Lord have mercy, going to school. There was times I could not wait to wear that brand new, fresh outfit. But then there were other times, recognizing and realizing my mother is a single parent and, funds were limited, where I had to learn. That's where I started getting creative. I had to learn how to stretch things out.
I never was a
play
student
around.
that liked school.
Really?
I really didn't. No, I didn't look forward to going to school. I didn't want to go to school, but I always got good grades. I guess
Okay.
it's because I wasn't as popular or sociable.
Okay.
I just did what needed to do academically, and I wasn't that person like, oh, it's school. Oh, no. I was more so like, okay.
Do you look back now, though, and feel differently, like that you worried about, because you feel like you weren't that popular? Do you think you were more popular than you thought? Or-
Oh, yeah, people do remember me. I'm surprised. I'm like, oh, yeah, you remember me? Yes, I wasn't
Yeah.
as popular, but I was okay with the way that everything transpired in my high school year.
Yeah.
So I was okay with it, but I just wasn't that. I know people, we were talking, we did a rally last week at Henry Ford where we welcomed the kids back in the building. We did
Nice.
pom-poms, we did the red carpet, we had the music and a DJ there, and they were just talking about how the kids aren't excited, and the alumni was saying how they were excited to come to school, because, they more so, I guess it was more so the sports players, or I know you were on the cheerleading team, Lisa. Yeah, and, so they were saying how they were just more excited, and I was just looking like, it wasn't me.
And that is things that make kids more excited about going to school, being involved in activities. I think having, and different activities, because everybody doesn't play sports.
Yeah.
You have.
I did journalism and yearbook.
And see, people, I know kids used to love
Now
that.
I see why you hated school.
Why? Because I like journalism and yearbook. I did journalism and yearbook in college, too. That was just I love writing. I don't necessarily like writing more so now, but yeah, it was definitely a love. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I looked forward to going to school. It was social times. You know, I was involved in extracurricular activities, and for me, it was about surviving and having fun. You know, like I really didn't care about being an all A student. For me, it was just like as long as I passed and I'm having a good time, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody had a different, high school experiences, and it just molds us and make us into the people that we are growing up. But yeah. So I just wanted to, I guess, point that out, the different experiences
That's
we had
cool,
in high
though.
school. How was your experience in high school? What year you graduate?
You know, it's some haters in this house. If you see them, point them out. Hey.
I know you were on a cheerleading team. Well, Lisa always is more sociable and popular, I'm sure.
She really is.
She is.
You know
Everybody
what?
know her.
No, honestly, my high school experience.
Sugar.
My high school experience, because I was, like I said, I was new to a high school. That wasn't like the neighborhood that I grew up in. So I started out, of course, kind of shy.
In the
and
ninth
very
grade?
In the ninth grade,
Okay.
yeah. Reserved.
But by the 12th grade, you knew
Maybe
everybody.
by the 12th grade, but even by the 12th grade, I still was never like I didn't become more of a social butterfly, I guess, maybe until I went to college. I was always friendly though. Like
Yeah.
what you see now, this is still me, same person, you know, from high school. But
What you see is what you get.
right.
And
But-
what year was that? We
Oh
missed
my
that.
God. Listen, honey, 1990 and proud of it with my cute fast self.
Yes. Cutie pie.
Look, here you go. We all graduated in the 90s while y'all playing.
Per, you graduated in the 90s?
I did.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
99.
Yeah, I graduated in 95.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm celebrating my 25th next year.
That's crazy. I know.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'll be on that sweet 30. Wow.
That's
Well, next year?
awesome.
Okay. Y'all planning something?
We're planning a cruise.
We going to the Bahamas? Y'all going to?
I think it's the Bahamas. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
it's in
cool.
April or May. It's either April or May.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I haven't made any moves on it yet.
I know they got
So-
that Carnival got that $25 deposit. That's why we doing hers. But it's
Right.
all alumni cruise, so it'd be everybody who
Oh, that would
want
be
to
nice.
participate. But
That's because your school was so small. Was that?
no. Henry Ford's small now, but no, boo boo, no, we're
It's-
not that small. But no, it's just something that all alumni went in and they did it. So we was like, oh well, we might as well just go and participate for our 25th.
Okay.
And have everybody on there. So we'll have our little separate events too, but it'll be good that all of the Henry Ford alumni will be there.
Right.
Remember you just said April and May, and remember we attended the professional development and they called themselves months.
Lord have mercy.
Oh yeah, hey May, shout out to May.
Yeah, how were you as a student, though, Dr. Perk? Because you are very silly.
Yeah, I
My
was
pastor he picked up on her. What did he say? You was what?
The comedian.
No, he said something. You were sharp. Yeah, he called you sharp.
I was silly, but I only really talked to people like in my circle, you know, in class, you know, I would interact with individuals or whatever, but I just really had like a small circle. But school was fun. You know, I think that's important that all children, you know, you take the academics seriously, but at the same time, school is supposed to be enjoying. So when you look back, you're like, oh, I was not only taught skills that I needed, but I also enjoyed myself. Because in life, you look back as you get older, you know, you look back and you start to think like, you know, man, memories are very important.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. And kids should be taught that at a young age to, you know, these kids today, they are stressed out, you know, and it's hard for them to sometimes be themselves. Like they cannot be themselves because not all kids, of course, but some kids are just so worried about what the next person thinks. I know I've been out.
Well, I don't think it's more so a now trend. I think I worried about that in high school. That's why I was really didn't break out of my shell. I more so focused on academics, did what I need to do. If I didn't have to be at school that day, I wasn't there. So I'm more so just focused on what needed to be done because I didn't necessarily know who I was as a person. I know everybody grow into that, but I was more so really focused on, being liked, being accepted,
Right.
and being wanted.
And writing in your journalism.
Yes. And I had a journal and I had a diary. I used to write in a diary, yeah.
But I think the difference with the kids today is the social media piece. When you think about the social media piece, that everything, when anything happens, it's automatically widespread.
It is.
They don't have any time to regroup because, hey, it's on social media.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is a good piece. Because you can't have bad, like if I had a bad day, yeah.
You go home and forget
about it. And the next
Yeah.
day, I mean, people make a joke about it, but it wasn't reoccurring.
Yes.
Where this is weeks and months and actual recordings.
Right. Whereas like when things happen, it took a while for things to spread, but it's just it's backwards where things happen and it's already spread and it takes a while for it to die down. So quick tip, did you know that by checking your child's book bag daily helps to keep them aware of organizational skills, and it also helps them to stay on their toes so that they know that we are paying attention. Children want parents to pay attention sometimes.
They do. They really do. And it's also very important while you're checking that book bag to not make it seem like you're checking it for punitive reasons,
Yes.
but you're checking it just to keep informed about what's going on, and also make it conversational. Well, how was your day today?
Yes,
Let me see what's been going on. Let me look through your things,
absolutely.
And that way, if you do see your child, they are disorganized, you can tell them, well, how about if you organize your information this way, it might help you try this. And I just want to say, I was really proud of myself yesterday because I helped TT with her homework without yelling and screaming.
Okay.
That was one of the areas that I had to check myself in, like, why am I so impatient when it comes to her? Like last year, her homework, like, oh, let me check myself and be more patient. So 5 things you can ask your kids instead of how was school? What made you smile today? Who did you sit with at lunch? If you could change one thing about today, what would it be? What was the hardest rule to follow today? Tell me something you know today that you didn't know yesterday. And those are good questions.
Very.
And they're open-ended.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's good to reflect on the positive and get your child thinking, and reflect on positive. And I know we do positive affirmations where we speak life, and it's good to start off maybe school with that. I'm smart, like we had on our book bags, champion student, I am smart. Good positive affirmations like that speaks life and add positive value to your children's life.
Yes. Absolutely. So, those are some really good tips and questions, that you read, Dr. Pert. I know Miss April and I were talking about the letter that, oh my gosh. Let's just cut the mic off.
Yeah, somebody wrote us on Facebook. They had a letter that they wanted to assistance with. So let me read what the champion parent said. So first of all, I must say that I'm really appreciating the topics because I want my children to be successful. I am all for healthy tips. So just quickly, the middle school years for my daughter is quite interesting. I think that I am one eye roll and teeth smacking time away from my child catching my wrath. Ooh, that's awesome.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, it do. It really do sound like you, Miss Lee. So let me read that again. So
You sure I didn't write the letter?
So just quickly, the middle school years for my daughter is quite interesting. I think that I am one eye roll and teeth smacking time away from my child catching my wrath. Why is it that parents are not like they were when we were growing up? My mom had no problems giving me the look, and I knew that I could not dare even think about having an attitude. Teens and preteens face today's so much peer pressure and the frustration that we as parents get the backlash. How do I, as a single mom, combat the backlash of frustration? Keep it real. I want to lay the hand down on her, rear end. However, I cannot let her grow up to be disrespectful. Help. Laugh aloud for real, y'all. So what can we do as parents?
The key word, like in me listening to that letter, is when you think about frustration and a lot, like, I don't know, that's why I say it sounds like me writing a letter to a certain extent. I know that when I experience either my own children or even being at work, the kids that I deal with at work, you can tell the difference sometimes when kids are just like overly frustrated. You know, you ever been in a situation where you felt like our parents are the closest things to us, right? And so when we are upset, sometimes we may give them, they're trying to help us. They're the ones that they're going to have our backs through and through, but because they're the closest to us, I think that it's a way for us to release where we cannot release, at school or where the problem really is. So I think one of the things that we can do is really just try to remain calm and patient and not take stuff personal. That's one of the biggest things that I could think of. I don't know.
I think one of the things is, as parents, we have to model for our children how to respond to situations. And at times it can be hard because, of course, we're emotional. Of course, we're human. And at times it's like, things can get frustrating. But I think one of the biggest things, and I practice this myself because I will fly off the handle too. I'm guilty of it too. But I had to sit down and ask myself, why am I responding in such a way where I'm yelling and I'm screaming and I'm cursing? Is it really frustration that I have in the inside? I had to really ask myself.
Because sometimes as parents, we do be frustrated.
Yeah.
We just be as frustrated as our children, and we just want them to listen.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we have to stop and communicate with them and talk to them,
Absolutely.
not necessarily yelling. Even though yelling will occur, and sometimes yelling is effective, but it's not always effective.
Yeah. And then you're frustrated because that's your children are the loves of your lives. And, you want the best for them. You don't want them, you want to protect them. You want to keep them safe. You want them to do their best. I mean, we have a myriad of reasons, as to why we respond the way we do. So they get frustrated and so do we.
Yeah, but you know what? On another note, it really depends on, as parents, our response to children. It really depends on the child, because how you respond to one child may not be effective, but how you respond to another child may be effective. So I just think as a parent, you have to figure out what's the best way that your children respond to you when you respond to them. Does that make sense?
It does,
Yeah.
absolutely. It really does. And, yeah. Because I know that things that work on my son does not work on my daughter,
Right.
and vice versa.
Well, my sons was growing up, I treated them both the same. At one point, I thought I treated them as twins. I would buy two of everything, because my sons are only a year and 16 days apart. It wasn't until their middle school years that they started developing, and I had to recognize, okay, they're different. I have to do this for Seth and this for Caleb. So it is important for us to recognize our individual children's strengths and weaknesses and treat them as an individual. Because now I can talk to Seth a certain way, and I talk to Caleb, communicate with Caleb a certain way. So yeah, we definitely have to recognize how best to address our children. Yeah.
I guess it's like when you think about it in school, work, we as teachers, as educators, that when you think about differentiating instruction, that every child is different and that what works on this child may not work on the other child.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And listening.
Yeah. So you said that we're providing people with well change earlier.
Did I say well change?
Did you say well change?
Hey, caller. Welcome to Mommy Talk. Hey, caller.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, what's
Hey,
up?
how are you?
Good. I noticed the older I get, the less frustrated I get. When I was younger and my kids were younger and growing up, I was more frustrated with them. But my grandkids, it was just, I guess because I got older and more mature and I understood things more. So I don't know how we can get to the point to help young parents to be not as frustrated.
Yeah.
I think as parents growing up, because we got so much going on, of course you're not frustrated now because you don't got to deal with your kids. But I think I think more workshops should be available because they have so much going on. I know when I was growing, oh my goodness, when I was younger and raising my sons, I had work, I had to deal with them, deal with their homework, and it was really as a single parent. I was a single parent growing up with my children, so it was just really stressful. And I probably did react a lot of ways that I could have done better, but I just grew and became better. I wouldn't even sound more patient. I don't even have to deal with I'm not saying that my sons I don't have to deal with them, but I would say my patience level is less and less now, meaning that stuff that I probably would have tolerated when they were growing up, now I just don't have a lot of patience.
Oh, okay. Because about 3 weeks ago, we had Vacation Bible School, and we had this one little boy. That just acted. One day I tried to make him the leader. Didn't work. The next day I tried something else. It didn't work. So the thing I began to try is, and I guess because I'm older, I would just tell him, you know what, I love you, and give him a hug. So every day I would say, I love you, and give him a hug. He still acted out. But that Sunday when he came back to service, he told our pastor, he said, I'm coming back.
Wow.
So you had an impact. Yeah, sometimes it takes time with kids, and you just have to be consistent with them.
Yeah.
Because they may be missing something, and by you being consistent with them and providing that positive affirmation and love and caring, I'm sure it will affect them. Because what happens is a lot of times, like I have students who come to me after the fact, and I didn't think I was effective to them. They're like, Miss McDaniel or Miss Seaworth, I appreciate you. You did this, and this to me. I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't even realize I had done that. But he may not realize that then, but I'm sure he's reflecting and thankful for your love.
Yeah.
We had a parent a couple of weeks ago that talked about often saying "I love you" to my to her child, and that just reiterate the fact that a lot of kids do not hear that often,
Right.
and I'm not sure if that's that young man's case, but sometimes kids just need to hear that "I love you,"
Right.
and just positivity.
Yeah, and get that hug.
Yes.
Because at first he didn't, but then later he would look forward to me. He would look at me like, okay, where's my hug?
Yes. Absolutely.
So, but I think as I got older, I just got less frustrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have less responsibilities. Yeah.
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 All right. Well,
Ladies.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying thank you, ladies. And y'all
And thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Champion parent.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell Carson I said hi.
Oh, he listening. He said hi.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
While he eats his Skittles. Hey, Carson.
And that's really important. I remember when I first had my first child, my auntie, my favorite auntie, I love her
I
to
love
death.
favorite auntie. Hey, favorite auntie.
Hey, favorite auntie.
She's so sweet.
She gave me the best advice. She said, when your children begin to act out, love them even more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best advice that a champion parent can give, Love
Absolutely.
them through that frustration. So Miss Lisa is over here trying to show me something.
Well, I'm
can't
sorry,
see,
the
so-
engineer. I'm sorry, the engineer is just basically telling us to wrap it up. And so, we talking about the well wishes for the school
Oh,
year.
that's what it is, the well wishes.
Yes,
Okay.
the well wishes for the school
I said
year.
well changes.
I'm like, so we just wishing at all the kids and parents and educators a successful school year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Make sure you support your child because you do want them to have a productive school
Yeah, daily
year.
affirmations are good for in the morning.
Yes.
Repeat those daily. I am smart. I am
Kind,
beautiful.
I am important.
Yeah, I am kind. That's good. That's really good. Yeah,
Yes.
even though that was a joke, but yeah, that is good though.
Yes. And parents, please make sure you make arrangements to pick your children up on time after school. And of course, y'all know I'm talking to myself. But yes, let's get our kids picked up on time. And please, you all tune in next week while we talk about school uniforms. Are they important or not?
Yeah, they are important, but we'll get into that next week.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you for listening,
Thank you
champion
for listening,
parents.
Champion Parents. It's Mommy Talk signing out. Peace out.